6v6 battling on huge maps with 4 lanes,
Mhm.
usable
Yeah.
abilities, items,
Okay.
and tower defense mechanics. Hello everyone, welcome back to Two Buds One Podcast, episode 15. I am your host, Alchem Games. I'm your host, the Techno Jelly, and with me is my co-host, Alchem Games, who apparently we are one, as some people would say. Today is we are becoming one. Soon Alchem and I will be the same person. I'm absorbing him as a slime would. So today, Alchem, I have a number of topics. Yeah. And as I apparently do now all the time, you're going to get to choose. You're going to get to choose which one I talk about first, with me giving you literally no context at all with me what I'm about to say. So
I'm getting used to this.
Story 1 is my personal experience with something. Story 2, the Geneva Convention was broken. And
I need to know about that.
And story 3, it involves Valve.
I need to know about this now. You just said.
All right, so the story about where the Geneva Convention was broken. So, I want you to take a guess which game broke the Geneva Convention, and I will tell you
Team
both.
Fortress 2.
No, this is Valve. Oh. No, the Valve is not a part of this. You and I have played this game.
Overwatch.
Nope.
Oh. Left 4 Dead?
Nope.
Fall Guys?
Nope.
Oh. Borderlands?
Nope. It's a game that I really love, and you weren't a huge fan of. Considering I just said that, good guess, but no.
StarCraft? I really doubt that one.
Not StarCraft.
Okay. I pass and double it to the next person.
So the game that broke the Geneva Convention was Stardew Valley, because at the hospital, in the health center in Stardew Valley, originally there was a Red Cross for the health center, which is breaking the Geneva Convention because you're not allowed to do that. The Red Cross is specifically for medical people during war, which is again, and you're not allowed to use that symbol unless when you use that symbol, it's very specific, which obviously Stardew Valley doesn't have. Which apparently a lot of games break, which the TF2 is, it has broken the Geneva Convention before they patched it.
I feel this is a simple mistake that most game developers
don't realize. Because they don't realize, and the Concerned Ape, the developer, did patch it out. It's just funny because I was just scrolling on TikTok and remembered that and saw it was like an old thing of Stardew Valley, and I'm like, wait a minute. In this clip, the health center still has the Red Cross. And I was like, oh, I remember when they patched that. Because in the patch notes, Concerned Ape put fixed, like it was like a fixed bug or something like that. It was like in the patch notes, it said, no longer breaking Geneva Convention. Smiley face.
Oh my lord. Okay.
It was great. To bounce off of Stardew Valley, I do have another story with Stardew Valley, because all 3 of these stories, by the way, that I've said, actually that's not true, 2 of these stories have an extra step. Stardew Valley has villagers that you can romance and that you can make relationships with. So, Alchem, there's a modding community in Stardew Valley. Why are you getting so close?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I wanted to know. I was excited.
Okay. So there's a modding community in Stardew Valley, right?
Yes.
Would you like me just to tell you, or would you like to guess what game they are now adding villagers to? They're replacing the villagers. Actually, are they replacing the villagers? I can't remember if they might be. It's just additional villagers that you can. They are new residents of the town of Stardew Valley that you can now romance. They have detailed custom portraits. They have unique dialogue, there's entire things for them. The full Stardew Valley villager experience is there. Right now, it's not all done, but like it's all planned, and one of the characters is basically done. So, would you like to guess which game these games are being imported to, or do you want me just to tell you?
Monster High.
I honestly don't know what that. I don't know what that game is, but
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's like visual novel about monsters in high school or some bullshit like that. I don't know.
That doesn't surprise me.
I took a stab in the dark.
That was. I mean, to be fair, I mean, it's a modding community, so those passions run deep. Who knows what they dig up?
Dead by Daylight?
No. Good guess, though. Good guess.
I mean, we're talking about the modding community, so
it's the modding community. Yeah, it would be. It wouldn't surprise me. Honestly, that it wouldn't surprise. I don't know if it exists, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did.
Modding community on that. No, you got me.
So it has added the Baldur's Gate 3 companions.
No.
So Astarion, Shadowheart, Gale, and Halson are completely new residents.
Not the bear. They put the bear.
And the vampire.
And the vampire.
They all have extremely detailed portraits. It's custom art that the mod creators made for it. Unique dialogue options. And yeah.
I can't believe they've done this.
They are adding on top of the regular villagers, the Baldur's Village is being added to it, and it's a completely separate map from the original town, so you can go visit them.
That's actually incredible. But
it's there are 3 developers. It's 3 developers: an artist, a coder, and a scripter, so they can work on the mod.
Oh, good job. I can't believe you've done this. This is terrible. hashtag appraisal.
This is awful. Please give me a link.
This is terrible. Parentheses. Good job.
Yeah. So those are some quick stories that I just found very amusing. And to jump onto a different game. So you remember when we were talking about Marvel Rivals?
Rivals, yep.
The 6v6 hero shooter, totally not Overwatch.
Do not call us.
Have you seen the? Now I'm gonna have to say this word because you can. I'm saying this word and no one can sue us. Okay, allegedly, leaked screenshots of Valve's newest game.
Oh yeah, they're allegedly
making a 6v6 hero shooter called Deadlock.
Yeah, allegedly I heard of. I allegedly heard of this too.
And I allegedly saw screenshots on Twitter.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly. And
I mean, honestly,
the funny thing is this game doesn't sound like Overwatch to me. And do you know what game this? Because there's been some more details. There's been some details that have been coming out. And
what does it sound like?
So there's 6v6 battling on huge maps with 4 lanes, usable abilities, items, and tower defense mechanics.
Sounds more like.
I
see.
You know what game this sounds like to me?
League.
Yes, because it sounds to me like Battleborn.
It does sound like.
It sounds like Battleborn.
Thank you for saying it, because I couldn't remember the name.
I was going to say it sounds like Battleborn. It sounds like they're making Smite, but faster paced or something like that. Which, to be fair, kind of like if Valve were going to be able to do that, that probably sounds pretty cool. I mean, one of the problems with Battleborn, it was a marketing problem. Like Battleborn was nothing like Overwatch, and then for some reason they marketed themselves as a competitor to Overwatch when the game was nothing like Overwatch, other than the fact that it's not even a hero shooter; it's a MOBA. It was more of a competitor against Smite than anything else, but like.
And it had a story, goddammit.
And it did have a story mode with a co-op mode. That's funny enough.
I fucking loved it.
I actually wanted to play the story mode, and then because it tanks so hard, I never ended up buying it.
I actually enjoyed that bitch. It was fun.
Yeah.
Isaac was one of my favorite of the characters because I mean, one, he played really good for a tank, but he also had one of the best dialogues in the game.
Yeah. So some details on this game that allegedly exists. So the person that found this is Gabe Follower, and if anyone knows anything, Gabe Follower is a very reliable source when it comes to
isn't he the guy who leaked
Valve.
so many things?
Well, he just knows so much. He knows how Valve works. He's one of the big guys that helps do a lot of Counter-Strike stuff as well. Like he like forebodem line by line knows how Valve does things in the code because he's looked at their code and stuff like that, and like he's been able to predict basically everything so far with Counter-Strike 2 very close accuracy. There are some things obviously there's some things he gets wrong, but like he pretty much he is like one of the top guys that it's trustworthy. Like he's definitely not trying to bait people. He is definitely like when he says something he thinks it's true. So apparently this project was also called Neon Prime, which was it was a trademark. It was Valve trademarked it in 2022. It was a new computer game filed a new computer game software trademark. Out of the blue, and they applied that trademark, and it was called Neon Prime. And no one knew what it was for. Obviously, when you're applying for a computer game software trademark, what else could you be doing other than making a new game? Like, some people thought at the time that thought that was Counter-Strike 2. No, it was too late to be Counter-Strike 2 because it was in 2022. What are you
sneaking around for?
So people think it's pretty close to the fact that this used to be Neon Prime. So the Deadlock, which is what it's called now, which is a 6v6 third-person shooter. Awesome. And it's taking inspiration from Overwatch, Team Fortress 2, and Dota 2. Apparently, they changed really cool. The name. The name change was because before it was sci-fi, and now it's fantasy steampunk. And with some of the with the screenshots, the hero design is pretty much inspired by the Dota universe. This is one of the things why it sounds like more like League or Smite or Battleborn to me is the main map references modern steampunk European cities, which means there's most likely only one map, or like a map that you build off of, like a Summoner's Rift from League, or I don't know what the map is called in Smite, but like there are, like, you're not gonna have tons of maps like in an Overwatch, you know, where there's tons of maps, at least from what it sounds like. I mean, the biggest thing is like the tower defense stuff and the lanes. The fact that there's lanes makes it sound like what they're going for, especially with, though what confuses me is that it's 6v6 and there's 4 lanes. So like, I mean, you've played League before, and like we've both of us have played MOBAs. What the heck are the what are the distribution of people on these lanes? But then again, it does say tower defense mechanics, but it doesn't actually say there's minions. So maybe, like, I'm assuming there's minions, but is there minions? And there's items as well. Minions have spawned. We don't know if, and here's the thing.
Idea.
We don't know, Alchem. We don't know if minions have spawned.
All this is, all this is speculation.
It's all speculation. There are screenshots, but the screenshots are extremely poor quality and obviously very early beta. Have you seen the screenshots?
I've seen, yeah, I have actually managed to see it because when I saw 6v6 like 6v6 team hero shooter from Valve. Even I was like, wait, hold on, what? Valve's actually doing something? Yeah,
these screenshots, honestly, they look pretty interesting. Like, if you can even see the mini map on one of them, and it looks pretty interesting. And you can see like the lanes. These are 4 lanes, each with transit lines that your players can. And you can like fast back to your lane if you die. From what I can tell. Also in the UI, it looks like you have 3 abilities plus an alt. And you have ammo. This guy in this screenshot has 625 out of 625. I don't know what that means. And it looks like you have something about souls. And you got like, it looks like you have item slots at the bottom left. And you also have last hits too. So it's interesting. It looks very interesting. I think the funniest thing though to me, Alchem, one of the funniest things is the maker of Gary's mod responded to these, right?
Huh.
And his tweet is exactly what I think about the internet, is quote, enjoying watching everyone hating on 4 badly compressed screenshots of a closed alpha game while 100% certain they'll be stepping on each other's throats to play it. Like everyone, because one of the biggest things is Alchem is that these screenshots were so much hatred was thrown at it when everyone found out. Personally, I think it's interesting. I think Valve needs more games. Because, I mean, Dota 2 is great. Counter-Strike 2, it's having a lot of problems right now, but it's getting better. And the other games that Valve has doesn't exist. That are multiplayer games, at least. Because Team Fortress 2 doesn't exist. Let's be real here. It has a hardcore dedicated community, but they're not updating the game anymore. No, and because they're Valve,
it's not going to grow.
Yeah. I mean, the game just isn't, it's not that it's past its prime. It's just like, I don't think there's anything you could do with it. You can't, honestly, I don't think I would want them to do anything with Team Fortress. Even the joke about even the joke that they can't count to 3, Valve can't count to 3. I don't think I want them to make a Team Fortress 3 because what do you do? What do you do to change the game to justify the 3? Because let me put it this way. I'm having Overwatch 2. I'm having Overwatch 2 PTSD, Alchem, and I don't want them to make a game that's just the same game.
But what about the fan service?
What fan service? Soldier has a thicker booty?
No, Heavy needs one.
Oh, that makes sense, actually. That makes sense. But honestly, I just don't see what they would do. I don't see what they could realistically do to keep it for Team Fortress, but still change. I don't think so. Let them keep Team Fortress 2 as it is. I would say, they're never gonna turn off the servers. If they were going to, they would have done it years ago.
They would have done it a long, long time ago.
So just let them. If they want to make a new game, I mean, look. They got it. I'm glad that they're still trying. I was kind of scared that after Artifact, they're going to give up on making games. Because Artifact was a disaster. A colossal disaster. And a very expensive disaster as well. Because they spent a lot of time making that game. And, Valve is probably one of those companies that I could... we know Valve never, aggressively expanded like the other companies. So it's not like I'm thinking they're gonna start firing people. I don't expect Gabe Newell to ever do that. They didn't aggressively expand. But the devs in Valve, everyone jokes, they're no longer devs, they're just, making sure Steam is running. But it's one of those things where I feel like there's still game developers who love making games and love video games. So I can't see what do you mean?
Where? I don't see them anymore.
They made Half-Life Alyx and Counter-Strike 2.
I only see AAA games now. I'm sorry.
That's not true at all. I don't think I've ever seen you play a AAA game. That isn't Nintendo.
It's been a while.
It isn't Nintendo.
It has been a while.
Maybe COD. I would say maybe COD when you were doing you had a small COD.
Borderlands. Borderlands is AAA.
Well, the thing is, at the time they weren't though. When Borderlands 2 came out, they were arguably AA at best.
Yeah, they were AA.
They kind of Gearbox kind of threw a Hail Mary when they made Borderlands. The first one, they're like, man, if this game doesn't do well.
Yeah, usually the case for a lot of games. It's usually this is it. This is our very last attempt.
Yeah,
we got to nail out of the park or and it's hit or miss for some.
Speaking of that, did you ever know that Square, when they made Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy was their last ditch effort because they were actually going bankrupt.
Yep. Yep,
And
that's literally why they called it Final Fantasy.
It is not, because that wasn't the original title. Do you know that Final Fantasy was not the original title? They're actually no, that's what they came up with after the fact. But they tried to call it Fighting Fantasy, but that game already existed in Japan. So they called it Final Fantasy because they're like, you know what, this name makes. They wanted to call it Fighting Fantasy. They got denied because of other games calling it's too close, and they were worried about copyright and stuff like that. And so they're like, okay, well, this is potentially our final game. So then they came up with the whole reasoning behind Final Fantasy, but it wasn't the original name they were going with. The story's true, just it wasn't the first suggestion they had.
Hilariously, I know another game that had that similar kind of situation where it was going to be hit or miss, and if they didn't make it, that would have been it. And it's one of my favorite series too, which I would have been sad if they didn't do. It was for the Fire Emblem series.
Yep.
They were when the one that came out on the Game Boy Advance, Fire Emblem Awakening, or I think it was a DS.
It was a DS.
When that one came out, they were on their last leg. They basically Nintendo was like, all right, if this doesn't sell well, that's it. We're done.
Do you want to know what the sad thing is, Alchem? The reason why they're having so much financial troubles?
Why is that?
Because Advance Wars bombed hard.
I know.
Because Advance Wars sold literally nothing, and at the time it was the Wars series, but the Wars series was bombing hard apparently.
I know, and I was like, come on, it's such a good series. Don't kill my favorite series because of that.
It's okay. Advance Wars is dead. Thankfully, we know this.
Yeah, I know, which I
especially because of the remake.
That one. Actually,
I hate the remake so much.
Yeah,
I love that they tried, but man, do I hate the remake.
Bring back. I hope they try one more time. They bring back Days of Ruin.
I did really enjoy Days of Ruin.
Days of Ruin was actually really cool.
I don't know, man. No offense to that team that made it. I hope they didn't make a bad game, arguably, depending on your thing. But I think they made a bad Advance Wars game because the audio, the audio for that game makes me sad. Not the music. The music is amazing. But
music is good. It's just everything else is like
everything else is so flat. You know, there's nothing. There's no punch to anything. When tanks shoot, I shouldn't feel like they're shooting a pop cap gun.
I guess they wanted to keep the old feeling, but I'm like, no, you guys are
that's not true at all. The old games, the sounds were amazing. Like it's true with the Game Boy, but like. The sounds were intense. You're right.
You actually could hear the tanks and everything.
You heard all like if you do a side by side, the tank, all the gun sounds on all the vehicles and even like the machine guns, they all have very distinct sounds and they're very like obviously the game is like it's cartoony, so there's no violence, but like there's still weight to all those shots.
It's still realism.
And you also hear one of my biggest problems is you only hear one shot in the remake. You see a line, you see like a squad of tanks pull up and you hear one cannon shot. You're like, what where's the 5 or 6 other tanks not shooting? Guys,
one shell is enough, Jelly.
One shell's enough, and one shell kills like the whole thing.
One bullet.
Like it wasn't even for me. It wasn't even the graphics. It was the sound. The sound is what killed it for me. It's why I haven't even gone to Advance Wars 2 in the remake because I couldn't get over the sounds. I literally had to play the game muted because like I think it's one of those things like the gun sounds were such. I thought one of the reasons I thought Advance Wars was so cool was because the battle scenes were so cool to me when I was playing on the Game Boy. You know.
Well, I'm about to be like, is this man ready for Wargroove 2 when it comes out?
Wargroove 2 is already out. It's been out for Wargroove 2 has been it's been out for years, Alchem. What are you talking about?
Oh my God, no. Don't tell me that.
I'm pretty sure it's been out for years. Let me just
next thing you're gonna tell me that 2020 was not a year ago. Don't tell me that.
It came out in 2023, Alchem. October.
What? 2023? We're in 3? Oh my
God! We're in 4. We're in 4.
What is happening? What do you mean?
It has a mostly positive review. Only 282 reviews though. Actually, that's kind of low. I remember the
I
first.
hate. God, I hate. I would be so bad. I would feel so bad for a person who still feels like it's 2022 or it's 2020. And like, bro,
Jeez.
that was 4 years ago.
Yeah. Jeez, the first Wargroove got almost 3,000 reviews, and the second one only got a couple hundred.
There was barely any advertising for War Group 2.
Yeah. I actually really want to get it eventually.
I mean, honestly, it's a solid game.
I really enjoyed. The problem is with the first Wargroove that I had, it's not their fault, but Wargroove is a game like Advance Wars, but it is not Advance Wars, and it made me miss Advance Wars.
Yeah.
and the thing is, it's not a direct copy, and it's like it has its own flavor to it, which is good. But the problem is when I played Wargroove, I wanted to play Advance Wars, and that's not the game's fault. That's my fault.
You're not Wargroove. I mean, you're not Advance Wars. You're a lie. It's literally how it felt. But the characters did grow on me, so I do want to finish up. I got like halfway through the campaign.
Oh, yeah.
So
The game is fun. Also, really hard. I'm not good. It's been a long time since I played a game like that, and at the time, I was getting destroyed.
Damn.
Like, I don't know, man. Maybe I just suck. I could just suck. So you know that is a thing.
Okay.
I could be just. It could just be skill issue.
It's okay. Just don't let everyone know you suck.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, don't worry. I won't make a career out of being bad at video games.
Don't worry. We're gonna make sure no one sees this part of the video. No one will know.
Yeah, it's being edited out. Don't worry.
Good.
As we speak. So, yeah. How did we get here?
Advance Wars, gaming, Geneva Convention.
No, the new Deadlock, the Valve game.
Deadlock game, yeah.
Yeah, so like looking at these screenshots, it's just interesting. I just find this type of stuff interesting, you know? I'm also curious how close it is. I mean, it's definitely true. I'm curious how close it is to being publicly available without being 4 screenshots extremely compressed as a leak.
All we have to do is wait.
Yeah. And the problem is it's Valve, so who knows how long this is going to take.
All we have to do is wait, and then we'll be like Crypt Keeper age kind of thing. So it'll be like, is it finally out?
Yeah.
I remember back in 5 years ago in 2020, like Alchem, that was like 40 years ago. What?
Alchem, you're married with 5 kids. What?
Hell yeah, I am. I mean,
oh God.
Oh.
Mia, run.
No, she's stuck with me.
Oh, unlucky. I'm sorry, Mia.
But no, it's I really do hope it does come out sometime soon.
Honestly, yeah. I understand why people are angry, because I can understand people. First of all, they're doing the classic Valve, man. They are so like they're making a hero shooter right now. Damn. That's like 6 years late. Perfect Valve. Exactly what I want from Valve, honestly. And like I'm just interested, honestly. I guess it's funny to say that I'm just as excited, or wait, let me figure out my thoughts. I am surprisingly excited for these 6v6 hero shooters, and it's almost like Alchem that I miss a 6v6 hero shooter. Like there's a hole in my heart that something has been viciously stolen from me, and I can't get over it. I don't know why I feel. I don't know why I feel like this though. It's so so strange. If only like a game like that existed at one point, you know?
Yeah, I think what happened is so Overwatch has worn out its welcome to majority of players. Even though I still have fun with it from time to time, I will admit there's still more where I have fun, but
I probably still would have fun if I played it, but I refuse.
Eventually, gaming fatigue happens. It eventually happens to people, but then you get that call back. Like all of a sudden, say you suddenly have that urge to play racing games or FPS shooters or fighting games, and then you get your fix with something, but then you kind of wind down like, all right, well that was fun. Time to move on to the next thing. But the game's still there, and it'll always call you back. But now there's all these other new games that come out, or something else comes out to replace it.
I mean,
And
I agree with you, Alchem. The thing I was joking about though, Alchem, is
Mhm.
that the game that
Yeah.
is calling me back doesn't exist anymore.
Oh,
Because the
I'm
game
so
that's calling
sorry.
me back is the 6v6 Overwatch 1 that I want to play. Because
Oh, you can never play that. Oh my god, you're right. I forgot
you
about that. We
cannot
can never
play
go
that.
back.
You literally cannot play it. You can literally
That is-
never go back. And while, once again, it's like I've said, I don't hate Overwatch 2 to PvP. The reason I am so against it now is because the 2 in Overwatch 2 doesn't exist anymore. And what I wanted from that game was that. Because the whole 5v5 or 6v6, honestly, I enjoyed 6v6 more as a casual player. I understand why the more competitive players, I think, at least from what I can tell, like 5v5 more because of like, the faster queues, being an individual carry matters more. But all to me that happens is I die more because I'm trying to play Mercy. So it's just one of those things where, that game for me doesn't exist anymore, which is why, honestly, I'm pretty excited for Marvel Rivals. I'm pretty excited for this Deadlock game. And while Marvel Rivals does have netties attached to it, so I'm a little more cautious about them because, who knows what the microtransaction stuff is going to be like.
Yeah.
But, like, I trust Valve more than netties, definitely. I mean, Dota 2 isn't crazy. Do you know what the Dota 2 business model is, Alchem?
No.
You get the game for free. Period. You get everything for free, and if you want to buy a skin, you can buy a skin. But there's no, like, how in League you have to unlock champions? You have to, like, get the in-game currency to buy the champions or just buy them with Riot points.
Yeah.
When you download Dota 2, you have, in terms of gameplay, you have every single thing. And if you want to buy skins, you can buy skins. You can also buy battle passes and stuff that give you like PvE missions, I think.
See, that's what I think the more free to play, that should be the free to play kind of direction.
I mean, the problem is not every game can do that because most people don't buy skins. The reason Valve can do that is because getting them on the Steam marketplace is the goal. So, that helps them a lot.
Yeah.
But, like, I understand why not all games do that because it's crazy. Because they're Valve. So they have a very, like, they can do it because, Valve. But, I understand why other companies don't do that. Because, Okay, you didn't see it. Nothing happened for you, but for me, something almost bad happened. I clicked on OBS and changed the scene by accident. It's okay. I switched it back immediately. It's okay. We almost went to my full green screen. Yeah. Stop making fun of me, Alchem. Stop making fun of my...
I thought you were actually... I thought you almost did it again.
No. I changed it.
Okay.
I switched it back immediately. Yeah. So, like, that's the reason I'm kind of excited. It's like, honestly, Marvel Rivals looks really fun, in my opinion. And same with this game. I honestly, kind of want to play a game like this. I think my problem is that I'm interested to see how this, like, where the audience is. Because if it's a game like Battleborn, it's good. I think it's definitely going to prove whether or not this game does well. It's going to prove to me whether or not the Battleborn, what happened to Battleborn, was actually just a marketing problem. Because, like, every time I heard people talk about Battleborn, it's like they talked about the game in a lot of positivity. It's just that, like, no one played it. Like, 5 people played it. Maybe 6.
One of those 5.
Maybe 7. Maybe 8. Barely enough for a full team of 10.
honestly, you're kind of right. Finding matches during some of the story modes was a pain in the butt, but I
Yeah,
managed to get through to it.
I mean, like
But
it only had
it
it had a peak
was
of like a couple
good.
thousand, I think, if I remember correctly.
Like I honestly kind of wish we lived in the alternate world, alternate universe where Battleborn did well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want it. I don't want. I don't want the one where Battleborn did bad. I mean, or did well, and Overwatch didn't do good. I would prefer the one that both did well because I
I
would
mean, the thing is,
love to have seen where this went.
I mean, the problem I have with that outcome is that they're like the only connection they have is that there's heroes, I guess.
There's hero shooters. That's it. But they
They're
don't
not
play the same.
they're not hero shooter. Like Battleborn isn't a
Okay.
hero shooter though. It's a third person
Okay.
MOBA.
They're hero based
Yeah,
shooter
hero
games.
based
One
shooter
is
games.
one is the traditional hero shooter. That's Overwatch. The other is a MOBA shooter.
Yeah, one
which
took
is
inspiration. One took inspiration from MOBAs, and one took inspiration from Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
You know, like which are two very different games. So it's just like
here.
Yeah.
I'm here just like son of a bitch. What happened? I actually wanted that game to do good. It was actually really good. It was fun.
Yeah. So
But
maybe this game will fill that void. I don't know. I mean, hey, whenever it comes out, I'm down to play with you.
Mhm.
Though it looks like it's gonna be sick. It looks like it's PvP, so there's no story mode. So we'll see about that.
We're never
yeah.
gonna get story mode games anymore. Most people are dropping story mode shit.
That's not true. I mean, it's most people are focusing on one of the like one, you know? There's very few games that do the whole multiplayer, single player, and co-op, you know? It's just too much. Like honestly, COD is the only game that I know that still does that. Like what other game has a single player, a multiplayer, and like a co-op
And the
mode?
co-op. Yeah.
That's like within the last like 5 years. That isn't COD. Honestly, I don't know. I don't think I would know any because like Battlefield doesn't even have that anymore because they went full multiplayer the last time. I guess the new Battlefield apparently it does have a single player apparently, so they're going back to it. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. I'm just hoping. I'm just hoping for good things in the future.
Yeah. One interesting thing is so the fast travel using floating rails thing that they show in one of the screenshots, people are comparing that to the BioShock. Have you ever played BioShock Infinite?
Yeah, BioShock Infinite.
Yeah, they're comparing it, apparently it looks like the grapple lines. So it looks like that a lot. And
I mean, what do you want? Let them do. Jeez, everything has to be compared to something at this point.
I mean, honestly, I don't think it's a bad thing to compare things. It helps people understand what they are. It's only when people start using the comparative like they're ripping it off. Like it's like one of those things, having inspiration and ripping something off, there's a fine line between that, but I don't think this game is ripping anything off. You know what I mean? Because they're using it in a completely different context. They're using it as a way to get back into lane faster. At least from what we can tell.
I suppose so, but honestly, I don't know. I'm just like, Oh, well. Like I said, I'm just looking forward to the game when it does come out. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to give it a shot. That's all I can do.
Yeah. But there is nothing. There's like zero.
There's there's nothing
there's
going,
no
but everyone's
dates,
jumping to conclusions.
And this is Valve, so this game could be 5 years from release. All we know. Like, this is Valve. Yeah. It could be 5 years or literally a couple months. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me that this somehow, like, these screenshots are like 3 years old. You know? And they got leaked somehow, and they're like, oh, by the way, this game's real. It's coming out in 2 months. Or, like, no, it's coming out because it's Valve. So they're like, they don't do that. They don't do hype. They're like completely against it. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, this game's out now. It's in beta phase. Here you go. It's free to play. Download Steam now, please. and everyone's mind explodes.
I kind of hope. I really wish. I really do kind of want more stuff.
Oh no, that's the thing with Valve though. Honestly, I completely see that. I mean, like even with Counter-Strike 2, like they dropped the whole Counter-Strike 2 thing and then it came out like a couple months later. Like the timeline was insane for most games, because Valve is, I would think you can consider Valve at least a AA studio when you're purely looking at the video game side of it. Like, they're not a gigantic studio like an Activision or something like that, you know? At least from what I know, because I don't know how many employees are at Valve, but I don't think there's they're not. I don't know if there are hundreds of employees in Valve. I don't think there are. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, neither
This
do
is something I need to
I'm
Google
like,
now. How
some of those-
many employees at Valve? Oh, wow. Okay. We are completely wrong. In
There's
2022, Valve has approximately 1,139 employees. Though this is employees, so that's not all game devs, to be fair, because Valve also has a lot of software engineers for Steam,
Yeah.
to be fair now.
Makes you wonder then.
Interesting. I wonder... Huh. Now I'm just looking at... Okay. Interesting. I'm trying to figure out... because that was from 2022, and I'm getting conflicting reports. Oh, I forgot they had a lawsuit against Blizzard. That's hilarious. And they won. Because that's how they got Dota. That's hilarious.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, apparently in 2016, a former employee filed a suit against Valve alleging poor working conditions and harassment. The jury ruled in favor of Valve in 2017. Huh. Interesting.
He lied. No, well, we don't know.
We don't know. We don't know what happened, but
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's interesting. So, okay, so apparently they have a lot of people working at Valve. Okay, so apparently, Valve Corporation, apparently it has 201 to 500 employees. So I wonder where this gets the 1,000 employees from. Oh, is this stupid new AI thing that Google Chrome has?
No clue.
I remember them talking about there's...
Google's trying to do something with AI. I mean, every big company's trying to do something with AI.
What is this?
They're
Feature
taking over.
snippets.
Jelly is AI. Just letting you guys know. They're focused right now, so they can't tell that
I'm in AI. I know this.
See?
I'm actually I was actually programmed by Alchem. It's why the code very rarely works. I was programmed by Alchem to try to do things for him, and I rebelled and ran away to Canada. And he can't legally get me because he can't legally get me to return, so that's why we're running this.
Trying to get a return on my investment, damn it. Damn.
It's not my fault you coded me so poorly.
Who would have thought putting a light bulb into like a jar of jelly would have resulted in that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally not his origin.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I feel like I trust LinkedIn more than this random thing. So I don't know what Google Chrome's doing. I don't know where they're getting this number. So yeah, it's 200 to 500, which sounds a lot more reasonable. Like I said, still like a AA studio, multiple hundreds of people, and that's employees, so not all of them are devs. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so another quick one. Quick as in like this is a solo story, not attached. Well, I mean, kind of attached. Speaking of, like Gabe, Valve making a game, which is crazy. So do you know a guy, or does a person's named Ron Gilbert? Does that name ring a bell to you?
Vaguely. I mean, I've heard that name before.
The reason you've heard that name before is that is the one of the original creators
Oh!
of Monkey Island.
Okay, that's why. All right.
And he also made Thimbleweed Park. He also made well, that's a game that he made relatively recently in the last couple years, which is a game that's like it's a choose your own adventure game that with that own style, and he released it. I think it was like in the late 2010s.
Oh, cool.
Before the pandemic, I'm pretty sure.
Just before.
But he's also but Ron Gerbold has also made oh god, it's that motorcycle adventure game too, I think. Oh god, I can't remember it now. I went to search up Ron Gilbert now. Ron Gilbert, because he's made a ton of games.
You bring up this info without research. How could you?
Here's the thing. I know it, but I just don't remember the things.
You bring shame on Ron Gilbert.
I know I do. So he was part of Maniac Mansion, which is the very, like, people argue is like the very first choose your own adventure point and click style video game ever. He was employed at LucasArts, by the way. So he made that Maniac Mansion. He made The Secret of Monkey Island, Secret of Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge, and then he left LucasArts, right? And I think it's very funny because I remember playing these games, and it's so funny that the guy who made Monkey Island made these games. But did you ever know the Putt games? They're children's point and click games.
Yes, I used to play that, and I referenced that a lot when I joked around.
He was the director, designer, and programmer of those games.
Oh my god, he actually damn, okay.
Yeah. So he made some of those games.
Explains why it was so good.
Yep. And then he made the Day of Tentacle game, which is a Maniac Mansion sequel. Let me go. He was part of Humongous Entertainment, which made a bunch of putt games and tons of children's games, because he also made Freddy Fish, apparently.
Oh, I remember Freddy Fish.
Yeah.
One too.
And I didn't know he worked on Total Annihilation too. Damn. Okay. He's been around. I'm trying to find the game. I guess he didn't. Maybe it was Tom Schafer that made this game. Oh yeah, it was the other guy that made the motorcycle game. Okay, that makes sense. Wow, this guy has made a lot of games. Okay, but yeah. So Thimbleweed Park was made in 2017, right? And he also worked at funny enough, Devolver Digital, because he also made the Return to Monkey Island in 2022. And he was a director in that, which is I think it's a remake of the first game.
Yeah.
I think it's a remake of the first game, yeah. So he is making a new game, right? And everyone's like, oh, interesting, he's making a new game. And his game, he described, by him on Twitter, describes it as... Let me find the tweet. Fan for his work on Adventures of Monkey Island, Thimbleweed Park, Maniac Mansion. It doesn't have a name yet, but it says the website describes it as classic Zelda meets Diablo meets Thimbleweed Park, which sounds like the weirdest game mashup I've ever heard of. He's made, it's gone largely unnoticed until recently. He's made a bunch of maps and stuff like that. The game has slowly morphed. I recently hired an artist that really helped things and got things moving on. And he says, I suck at art. It's the game I always wanted to play, and I got tired of waiting, so I decided to build it. Because he's always wanted to play a game like this, and no one would make it. So he says, heck it, I'm doing it myself.
I mean, good on him. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
sometimes if you have this one idea that you think would be a cool thing to do and no one's doing it, why not?
Have you ever? So he also he recently hired. He announced that last week. Elisa Black, co-founder of Objects in Space Studio Flat Earth Games, has joined the project as a quest designer. And then the funny thing is, like, this ups the chance by 37% that I'll finish the game before becoming bored and delusioned.
Damn.
I mean, he's just a real guy.
At least yeah.
He's just like, yeah, I'll probably finish this game then. Now, maybe. No promises.
Probably.
But I think it's just, I just think it's classic Zelda
though.
meets Diablo meets Thimbleweed Park. I'm like, that is weird. I've never played Thimbleweed Park, but apparently every time I've seen people talk about it, they say people described it as it's if you picked up one of those classic point and click games from the late 90s or like the early 90s, and you didn't like it's like a classic game that you didn't know existed, and it's very with modern conveniences, of course, because obviously in the 90s there's some things weren't possible. But yeah, so that was just interesting, something interesting I found on Twitter one day, because of PC Gamer.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I'm interested. I hope once again I'm like, man, so many cool games coming soon, or soon TM, I guess, because
soon TM.
So Alchem, we get to the part of the podcast where I get to talk to you about my personal experiences, because as you know, I started this episode out with 3 topics. We covered the Geneva Convention, which is Stardew Valley, which is hilarious. I still find that hilarious. The Valve game, the new Valve, allegedly new Valve game. Don't sue us. And now my personal experience, and I will tell you my personal experience. So crypto, right? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Or am I? No, I'm actually kidding. There's no crypto, I promise.
Okay.
So, because of the Fallout TV show, Alchem, I got inspired. And so I own all of the Fallout games.
Oh, nice.
So I downloaded Fallout 1. And I will now explain to you my attempt to play this game. So first of all, this game, let me get the original release date, is very old. Fallout 1 release date. Came out in 1997. All right? Now, this game has a Steam version, and it's actually very good. The Steam version has very good. It supports modern systems and modern resolutions. One thing I didn't realize is, so when I say it supports modern resolutions, it doesn't scale the UI. So the UI is incredibly tiny, right? And I'm trying to play this game like I can barely read the text. I can barely see anything, right? It's so tiny, right?
Yeah.
What I don't realize for about, I'd say 10 minutes ish, because let me see how much time, actually, let me see how much time I have in Fallout 1, because this will tell you how long it takes me to do anything. I have 48 minutes in this game, and I want to tell you, Alchem, I'm going to spoil you what I did. I walked out of a cave. That's all I did. So, for 10 minutes, I'm trying to read anything. I'm like, okay, this can't be, they couldn't have released it like this, right? And so what I don't see is there's a ×2 option in the menu, which basically makes it so the UI, if you use modern resolution, it makes the UI bigger. So everything fits. Which is great. I'm like, okay, I can finally read everything. Now, Alchem, that's that's about 5. Okay, that's about 8 minutes in, because 2 minutes was me making sure the settings were okay. So now the next 10 minutes is me trying to figure out how to move. So, do you know what type of game Fallout 1 is?
It's a point and click.
Well, it's a top-down RPG. It's a CRPG like Baldur's Gate 3, right?
Yeah.
but made in 1997.
Yeah, I'm aware.
So, right-clicking the screen, Alchem, doesn't move you.
Oh,
Right-clicking on the ground doesn't move you.
Okay.
It just flashes symbols when you right-click.
Mm-hmm.
Your mouse cursor just changes different symbols, and I'm like, okay, interesting. So what I do is like, okay, let me look at the UI. I look at the UI. I'm like, okay, I got a gun, which is cool. Also, by the way, this is after I made my character. Luckily, I did know. This is after I made my character, which I spent about like 5 minutes in character creation, figuring stuff out. Which, by the way, I did the character creation with the menus really small. So I actually don't know some of the stuff that I skilled because I couldn't read the text. So I just clicked random things. I'm probably gonna have to remake a character because I don't know what I clicked and I can't figure out. We'll get to the reason why I might have to remake a character.
Joey has to reroll. I can't believe it.
I have to reroll. I might have to reroll, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, I would like to ask you, Alchem, how do you think you move in Fallout? It makes sense when you realize the game's made in 1997 and they're not entirely sure how to do this style of game super intuitively, but it makes sense eventually. And you only need... Actually, no. It's I'll tell you, it's multiple key presses to move. With the mouse as well. It's multiple presses of buttons. How do you move?
Didn't you need to like click on something and then type in something, or I forget?
No, it's not that old school.
Oh, okay.
It's still it is a computer. Or it's not a text-based RPG. It's full computer graphics by this point.
Oh.
It's 1997, so like there's full computer graphics. There's full on gore too.
So actually, it's not one of those right-click, see options, pick, go here, that kind of thing.
You're getting close. Okay. So what right-click swaps between different types of modes. So right-click switches between movement mode, perception mode, which when you hover over things describes things to you in detail. So when I was trying to move the first time and right-clicked, I changed my mode from... Because it's default on movement, which is smart. But because I've played modern games, I right-clicked out of habit to try to move, which changed my perspective to perception mode. So it was just giving me descriptions of everything around me as I tried to move around. So then I finally figured out, okay, I right-click to switch to movement mode, which you can tell you're on movement mode because you're now in your cursor is now a hexagon, because everything's in hexagons in Fallout. It's a hexagonal grid. It doesn't show you the grid, but everything's in a hexagonal grid because combat is hexagonal based. So I'm like, okay, cool. I figured how to move. I switched to it, and then you left click when you're in movement mode, right? And then I'm like, okay, cool. Now I hit I, hoping that it opens my inventory. And I'm correct. I opens inventory, which is great. We're 15 minutes in. I know how to move, and I opened my inventory, Alchem. So, I have a gun equipped, and there's 2 equipment slots and an armor slot. I don't have armor on because it's the very beginning of the game. I just have the classic vault suit, the blue jumpsuit. And I have a pistol and a melee weapon. And I don't have anything equipped on the second slot, so I grab the knife that I have, and I put it in the second slot. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I'm like, okay, there's a body beside me that I want to loot. So I right-click to go into perception mode. Then I left-click to click the body, and then I loot the body, and it's got another knife for me and some ammo. I'm like, sweet. Okay. And then I move up. And immediately I hear like do you remember the VAT sound in Fallout? I hear that sound. I'm like, what? Okay. And then I can't move anymore. I'm like, okay, what happened?
Oh, okay. You started up that. Now it's like a new menu, new interface kind of thing, right?
No, what happened is that's the sound for when an enemy sees you and combat has started.
What? Oh,
so
okay.
what I saw is because that sound, that VAT sound is just combat sound for anything basically. Because VATS doesn't exist in Fallout 1 and 2. Just so you know, VATS is a creation of Fallout 3 when Bethesda took over. Because what it is there's just a targeting. What VATS is, it's a targeting, because in Fallout 1 and 2, you can target specific body parts just as a extra action kind of thing, you know? Because it's a turn-based RPG. So that can just be done. And they turned that into VATS, which actually is very clever, honestly. I really like that system. VATS is a very clever idea, what they took from the original Fallout. So a rat, because a cave rat saw me, right? And what I did was a very reasonable thing to do is I shot it in the face and one-shot it. Because I had a 97% chance to hit. Because it walked up to me and didn't have enough action points. Because the Fallout 1 and 2 use action points. And to do things in combat takes a certain amount of action points, and when you're out of action points, you have to end your turn. So I shoot it in the face and it dies. I'm like, great. I try to loot the body. It turns out a rat doesn't have anything on its body. Unlucky. And then I go over, I'm moving around, slowly figuring out how to move. It turns out, I also figure out in this thing, when you double click in movement, you sprint, which is cool. And then Alchem, so I'm fighting, and then I find, okay, then I'm like, oh damn, there's a nest of rats here. Okay, so I'm gonna go fight this I'm gonna go fight this nest of rats, Alchem. And you know, I'm like, it's okay, I got a gun, right? I can just shoot these guys. I built my character from my knowledge to be pretty good with guns, right? Because I do know the character creation process, because I've watched videos on Fallout 1 and 2, so I kind of know like how the character creation, like where the abilities and stats do. So I'm like, okay, I built kind of for like, you know, talking and guns, because I figured that'd be pretty good for a first playthrough, you know? Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So, you know, unfortunately, my character still level 1, so still not that good at guns. So basically have to be point blank range for me to hit, or I just try to stab them with the knife. And then there's 4 rats on me, Alchem. Okay, 4 of them, right? And I'm like, okay, I got a 97% chance to hit this guy with my gun if they're right beside me, right? So I let them get closer. I'm like, okay, you know, I've been fighting a couple battles with the rats, and I'm almost out of this cave. I can see the exit. And then I click on the icon. So what I've been doing is I click on the gun icon at the bottom of my screen. That brings up a targeting thing, and then I target a rat, and then it shoots. I click on the gun icon, and it doesn't give me the targeting thing. I'm like, oh, I wonder why it does that. I'll click it again to see what it said, because it's flash text that I didn't, because I wasn't expecting it, so I didn't see it. It flashed text. It said something that I've seen this stuff before, and I've never been more stressed out when I've seen this text. It said, guns out of ammo. I needed to figure out how to reload. Oh, no. I needed to figure out how to reload because my character is not. My character sucks at melee. So taking out this knife to fight 4 rats, I will die. So I needed to figure out how to reload my gun and shoot.
God damn.
So I waste 3 turns trying to figure out how to reload, because turns out, Alchem, that I didn't realize, because I open my inventory, I mess around, close it, try to do it, open my inventory, mess around, close it. Turns out it takes action points to open your inventory in combat. Which makes sense, because, but also it's switching weapons doesn't cost anything. So you can freely switch weapons, just opening your inventory costs action points. So, turns out, also, this is going to be funny, also, Alchem. So, turns out how you reload your gun is you have bullets in your inventory. When you open your inventory, you can click your bullets and drag it to your gun, and that reloads the bullets. Which is pretty intuitive when you think about it. And the reason it took me 3 turns to do it is I accidentally had my knife equipped, and I was trying to reload my knife. Because I panicked, I switched weapons to the knife and realized, wait, I can't win this with the knife. I need to try to figure out how to reload my gun. And I never switched back.
So you were trying to reload from the inventory.
Yeah.
Or no, I guess oh.
So I was like, oh damn, okay, so let me click this, and then I accidentally load my armor-piercing rounds in my pistol. I'm like, oh crap, I just reloaded my good ammo, because there's regular ammo and armor-piercing rounds that I have, because I got armor-piercing rounds from that body that I looted, right? I'm like, damn, I don't want to use this armor-piercing rounds on these rats, you know? But I'll tell you, Alchem, I don't figure out how to unload my gun, so I just shoot these rats with armor-piercing rounds. And let me tell you, Alchem, it killed them really good.
I mean, I figured it would. It should.
Other than the fact that I missed twice, because 97% means I'm gonna miss twice on a rat. So, and then I left the cave. And then I was like, man, that was stressful. And then I saved the game, and then I closed the game because I had something else to do. Because that took me 40 minutes, basically. And yeah, that's my experience so far in Fallout 1. I'll come back to you next week, hopefully, with more interesting stories. I did travel, so one interesting thing about this, actually, I really like about Fallout 1, is, first of all, there is no controls options in the game. So I have absolutely no idea what any key does on the keyboard.
Oh, it doesn't show you.
It doesn't tell you. Like I said, Alchem, no. I guessed that I meant inventory. I have no idea what any other key does in the game. Also, by the way, WASD doesn't move the camera, and the arrow keys don't move the camera. The only way I know how to move the camera is having my mouse at the edge of the screen, and I don't know how to move it any other way.
Well, shit.
Luckily, the camera moves with your character sometimes, so I'm pretty good. And like I said, turn-based RPG, so I can take my time to do stuff, luckily, if I don't know how to do it. Sorry, actually, you know what? I didn't end there. I just realized. Because one cool thing is that there is maps, basically. So, in Fallout 3, Fallout 4, there are cities, right? Mm-hmm. There's locations you can discover. Yeah. So those locations that you can discover are the maps in Fallout 1, which you have to remember, it's a top-down game, kind of like Baldur's Gate 3. The in-between sections is a top-down map of the area where you travel from location to location. So you're a dot on a map, basically. And there can be random encounters that happen while you travel. Right?
Yeah.
So during this, I'm like, okay, so in the first Fallout, you're in a vault. I can't remember which vault you're from, I'm sorry. But I think you're from Vault 13, and your water chip has died, and you need to find a replacement chip, and you know of another vault called Vault 14, and you want to go ask for a replacement water chip because you couldn't figure, and you only have a couple, and the vault only has a couple months left of water. Of clean water, I should say. It's like a filtration system, basically. And you need this chip to fix the machine. They've tried to fix it other ways and they couldn't figure it out. And you're the person that they're sending out to fix this. So I'm heading over to Vault 14. And then I run into a settlement. Or no, sorry. I get a random encounter, Alchem, during my travels. And my arch nemesis, the cave rats, are back. And let me tell you, Alchem.
Did you reload your knife?
I ran out of ammo fighting them.
Oh my God.
I missed so many shots. You would think 97% Alchem is a pretty good, decent. No, it's 0%. I missed every shot. And then I was like, okay, I'm out of ammo. It's okay. Also, during the fight, I dropped my ammo out of my inventory partly. I don't know how I did that. I don't know how to pick it back up. Like I said, I'm probably going to have to remake a character because I have no idea how I dropped my ammo. I think I accidentally dropped it while I was trying to reload my gun.
Oh no.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stab all of these rats to death. Right? You have to remember, I'm not a melee character, so I do like 1 to 4 damage with a knife, and these rats I think have like, it takes like 3 hits for me to kill these guys. But luckily, I can swing multiple times if I don't move. So I'm stabbing these rats. I'm like, okay, I've taken a lot of damage, and I have stim packs in my inventory. So I'm like, okay, now I need to figure this out. I mean, it's better to figure this out now. How do I heal? So, after some findangling, I figure out that the way to heal is you take one of your 2 equipment slots, at least, okay, this is how I figured out to heal. I don't know if this is actually the way to heal, to be fair. I took off my gun because I didn't have any bullets, and the bullets are on the ground, and I don't know how to loot the ground. So, so I put my gun back in my inventory and equipped the stim pack to use the stim pack with action points to heal, which worked. I'm like, okay, sweet. And then I commenced to stab all 5 of those rats to death. And then I was like, okay, how much experience have I gained? I've gained 200 experience points, Alchem, with all my killing. Take a guess how much experience points I need to get to level 2.
No idea.
1,000. It
Oh,
turns
God, how
out
much did you get for that?
each of those rats was worth 25 experience points. Like, they're worth like nothing. They're worth
Oh,
nothing.
no.
I've almost died twice, Alchem, and they're worth nothing. They're worth
Oh
nothing,
my
Alchem.
God.
I
You-
almost
all this-
died in the tutorial.
All this time you were doing all this, and it was for 25 each.
Yep.
God damn.
And then I got to the settlement. I talked to a couple characters, looked at like how the dialogue stuff worked. I'm like, which is very interesting, honestly. And then I had to go do something, so then I saved. I'm like, okay, I'll come back to this later. I did actually figure out how to get my gun and bullets back. So I'm not sure. My problem is that at least I don't know how to open my character sheet. So I need to know what I actually skilled. Because we gotta remember, I made my character not realizing that I could make the font and everything bigger because of the modern resolution. So I actually don't know what I tagged for skills. Because you remember in Fallout, did you play Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 3?
I played Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. I never got into New Vegas.
Well, because Fallout 4 has a different skill leveling system, which is why. So you remember in Fallout 3, you could tag skills to get increased like speech, barter, and all that type of stuff when you create a character.
Yeah.
I don't know what skills I tagged because I couldn't read it. The text was so small. I just tagged 3 things and hoped for the best. So I actually don't know what I've tagged. So I might have to restart a character because I honestly have no idea what I tagged. It's one of those things where I don't know. I just don't know. I honestly just don't know.
You may definitely have to just
I
make
think I did take, I'm pretty sure, so Bloody Mess, the perk Bloody Mess, does exist in Fallout 1. It does exist in Fallout 1, and I'm pretty sure I took that. Because what Bloody Mess does in Fallout 1 is the most gruesome death animation plays for everyone. It doesn't do anything in terms of stat-wise. It just makes it so every death animation has the most gruesome.
Which is good.
Which is good, so that's why I took it. And yeah, so that's my experience so far in Fallout 1. I'll give you
randomly knifes a rat, explodes up.
I did almost actually. Speaking of that, so just before I saved and quit, I almost shot an innocent civilian by accident. Because when you enter this town, the first town that you enter, they tell you to holster your weapons, and I didn't read that and just started sprinting in the thing fully armed with my weapons out,
Oh no.
And they basically gave me a warning and like said, hey, if you don't stop, we're gonna shoot you. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh damn, I'm just pointing a gun at them by accident, basically. So I put my gun away, and said, my bad.
As you should. Almost.
And then I walked into town, talked to some people, and then and Alchem, after all this playtime, I haven't even gone to quest yet. I still haven't talked to any quest givers.
You're just. I talked to tutorial.
I talked to one guy that's telling me to talk to another person to get to a quest. And then I talked to another person and accidentally teleported myself into a rad scorpion cave and said, "Oh God, I hope I can just leave." And then I just left. And I'm like, "Oh, thank God."
So basically, you've literally been roaming around. You haven't even talked to an actual quest giver. You've just been talking to NPCs that guide you to the quest giver.
I've talked to NPCs that guide me to a quest, and I've talked to an NPC that is technically a quest giver, but doesn't give you like, it's like a, hey, do you want to go kill stuff? And the answer is yes. He teleports you to a map to kill stuff. It's like a cave. It's like clear a cave quest, basically. And I obviously, as you can tell, my combat experience is not nearly good enough. I'm not nearly good enough to kill anything other than I can barely kill rats. So I need some better gear at least. And also, you don't start with any money because you're a vault dweller, so you don't have any caps.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 0 money. I've got bullets, 1 stim pack left, a pistol, and a knife, and a dream. And we'll see how far I can go with that. I'm pretty sure I've tagged. I'm pretty sure I tagged speech, guns, and either a doctor or like the doctor skill or like maybe barter. I'm pretty sure I tagged guns and speech though. So as long as those 2 things are tagged, I think I'm just gonna keep going and just hope for the best. And this is gonna start my segment of weekly updates of how Fallout 1 is going. And as a final funny thing, speaking of Fallout, because I do have one article to go off of my Fallout story, just because it's hilarious. Bethesda patched the next gen update has come out for Fallout 4, right? And apparently it has broken everything. Like, we knew it was going to break stuff on PC, but apparently even on console it broke everything. Like, it basically did nothing for like, apparently it made it so it forced you to use the new settings of the next gen update, which destroyed people, like, which people playing on the older consoles just basically made it lag permanently and stuff like that. Like, it was awful. So apparently now, like, they did next gen update 2 with a new patch, and they made it so you can switch between settings on consoles, so you can like actually get better FPS. Which, by the way, Alchem, for some reason on console you can choose to have 40 FPS, which is a very odd FPS to choose. I mean, I feel like having 30. I think the difference between 30 and 40 isn't that big of a deal, but the difference between 30 and 60 is a big deal.
That's a big deal, yeah.
But like, I don't know anyone who wants 40 FPS.
Yeah,
it's very strange. But that's
like, I don't
honestly
think it'd be that noticeable either.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
So, and also apparently, on PC, it basically is a useless change, and one of the most downloaded mods, or one of the most downloaded tools right now is Fallout 4 Downgrader tool, which reverts the game pre-next gen patch. So the most popular tool right now, recently for Fallout 4, is to stop it from updating. Because one, it breaks all the mods that people love, and honestly, I'm not a huge mod user, so even if I were to play Fallout 4, that wouldn't be a big deal. Because apparently it actually, for PC specifically, it apparently patches. Bethesda did the unknowable thing, Alchem. They fixed a couple bugs. And they fixed one of the major bugs that was problem with Fallout 4 is, so you know in Fallout 4 when you get to, oh god, what's the first town name? The one where Preston's on the balcony shooting at people? I can't remember what that town name is. But
Yeah, I
you
don't
remember you remember
either.
when you kill
I
all
know
the
the one you're
raider
talking
when you kill all the raiders and he shouts at you to grab the laser musket?
Yeah.
There's a bug in the game where he doesn't do that. And he just never calls to you to grab the laser musket, and it
So
soft
they just always
and it
fighting?
soft lock. No. You kill the raiders and he just
Oh,
he,
so it never
he
continues.
just doesn't do anything. And it soft locks your
Ever.
game, and that save file
Yeah.
is
Because I was like, wait,
is useless.
he's a major story.
That save file is now useless.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
okay,
damn.
it's not completely useless, but you can never
You
unlock.
can't do the main story.
You can't do the. You can. I think you can technically finagle your way to make it so it does eventually work. You'll just never get the Minutemen quests. So you can't side with the Minutemen because you can never start the Minutemen stuff. So I think because I think
it's a major part of the story.
Well,
I guess
you can go to. I think you can go to Diamond City and force the game to trigger something to make it think you've done those quests, but you can't actually do them. It's like I said, it's a jank way to make it so you force yourself and you just can't side with the Minutemen at the end because you've never technically done anything for the Minutemen. I think.
Oh, I see.
I think. But anyway, it's fixed now. It actually patched it. They patched it, so it happened. It basically will happen significantly less frequently, if ever. So yeah, that's interesting. But with that, Alchem, that's the last story I have for this week. How any final comments on any of these things that I talked about? I hope you'll enjoy my weekly Fallout 1 rant or Fallout 1
please
exploits.
let us know more of the exploits of the Jelly of the Waste.
Me playing a game from 1997 and me being like, how the heck do I open my character sheet? I still don't know, Alchem. I hit C and nothing happened. I don't know if that's me doing something wrong or if the game is doing something wrong.
And nothing works. Nothing's working. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be an interesting thing. Jelly does not. You don't even know the controls. That's well. I mean,
I know the mouse controls and that's it.
Don't look it up. Just don't look it up. That's all.
Yeah. No. I'm no, Alchem. With this, there is no looking up there unless I think there is a bug that is affecting my experience. I will not be looking anything up. Just to I guess I did say we're gonna end, but just to say, I do know what happens in Fallout 1. Because I know the Fallout lore, so I know what happens, but I don't know how it happens in the games. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I know technically what happens, and I know the story beats, but I've never played it, and I've only seen a couple things from some YouTube videos that when people go hardcore nerd over the lore of Fallout 1 and 2, right? So I've never actually like played it myself, and I've never seen like the full context of everything in the games themselves. So
it's all new to me.
Yeah. So I'll let you know, and I'll show you I'll take screenshots so I can show you what it looks like, Alchem, because I don't know if you actually know what Fallout 1 looks like.
I've seen it. It's been
you've definitely seen it though, because it's one of those classic CRPGs from the 90s era.
Old ass, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's one of those things.
So other than that, any final statements on the?
To be quite honest, nah, I got nothing this week. There was not much. I'm like literally working on stuff myself, so I have not been keeping up with stuff going around.
Yeah, true. Okay, well then do your shoutouts.
Oh my god, put me on the spot. Why don't you?
I literally said we're doing the outro.
Still put me on the spot. Damn. Okay, I see how it is.
You do the shoutouts first. This is established.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, those of you watching through the live stream, thank you so much, and those watching on YouTube, appreciate you watching and giving us all these views. Please continue to grow the podcast. My name is Alchem, your co-host, and you can catch me usually streaming on Twitch, where I play lots and lots of different games. I usually am a little tanuki, but I swapped over to my RAM form today. Why? Because I can. It's funny. I like doing it. You can't stop me. And yeah, on Twitch, you can also catch me on YouTube as well. I'm starting to go and just do streams over on YouTube as well, but it's usually just the stream, just normal gaming streams. And I play everything. I literally play. There's only a few genre of games that I don't play, and sometimes I'm also just exploring VR chat. So I hope you guys enjoy any of that. You can also catch me on Twitter where I post random updates to streams, random clips, funny pictures I see with my models, and you can also, if you wish to support, just simply watch, view, subscribe if you want. Even go to the Patreon where I have basically I post random updates and everything. Yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and that is my take. Now on to Jelly.
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Detective Jelly. If you would like to check me out, I am on youtube.com/thetechnojelly. I play Minecraft, Valorant, and Vampire Survivors, which are 3 games that I never thought I'd be constantly making content of, but I do. And yeah, this podcast is uploaded every week on my YouTube channel on Sundays. If you'd like to join, I'd appreciate if you join either YouTube memberships or do super chats and all that, super thanks, all that stuff. If you'd like to check me out on other platforms, I do multi-stream all my stuff on Twitch as well as YouTube. I also have a TikTok, Instagram, and a Twitter account. If you'd like to support this podcast directly, I have a Patreon account where I upload the full unedited recording of the podcast session, which includes a before Alchem shows up scene of me talking to myself mostly. Honestly, it's me talking to myself and saying Alchem should be here any minute now. And that repeats like 4 or 5 times. While me talking about the just stuff that's happening, either yeah, honestly, it's just me rambling to myself. And then Alchem shows up and we talk a bit before we start the stream on his channel, and then we do a little bit of after as well. So other than that, thank you all for watching, and we will see you again next Sunday for the next episode of Two Buds, One Podcast. Goodbye, everyone.
Later, guys.